You want an investment edge, but all you hear is noise, hype, and half-truths. Every signal is solid information, but only if you can see the bigger picture. This is where the quasar magic happens. Weather, charts, news, all financial signals funneled into a single dashboard. Data alone isn't enough. Quasar Markets turns it into energy, sharp, clear, precise. Optimize with Quasar Markets today. Your edge when investing.
Good morning, Quasar Markets Live. I'm here with BigBeat himself. We are consolidating their highs here. Steve Powell's Jackson Hole speech is on deck and earnings are in focus. But let's see what's moving this morning. Steve, you want to talk about Powell? You want to talk about what's moving here today?
You know, I think that what's moving is based on what Powell is saying, right? Nothing. Powell is in this quiet period as he goes to Jackson Hole. His flights are today, I think. And, you know, I think we talked about this yesterday a little bit, but getting into it today, Powell has a big question mark around him. Is it whether blue tie, red tie, or he sticks to his own purple tie, right? He's trying to stay as quiet as possible. And I think we talked about it yesterday. It's the speed at which he tries to get out of the room when asking questions, right? Because the question mark around him is about his job. The question mark around him about is, okay, are you cutting rates? How much? What are you doing? The world is going to watch. And I think I said this yesterday too, again, this is going to be the most watched Jackson Hole Fed retreat in history. I think
I'm gonna call you on that one. And the only reason is you remember the 2020 COVID one. Everybody had nothing to do and everybody was watching TV. So that's the only reason that I got to throw that out there.
I'll give that to you.
Because
I still think this will be the most watched from Wall Street perspective. Let's put it that way. How about that? I'll say it from that perspective.
Absolutely. That I couldn't agree more.
Not watching. Okay, I'll go along with that. That's probably true. But
so I got to ask, does he confirm the cut path or does he push back against those 83% odds that are now down to 83%? They've moved about 15 points to the downside.
He pushes against it. He's saying that there's not a path, right? He's saying that that inflation is still sticky. He still says that his way is the highway, is the right way, right? It's my way or the highway kind of thing. And Howard, quite frankly, he doesn't like this. He doesn't like the political pressure. And he doesn't have political pressure, right? The president can't just do whatever he feels like he wants to do to the chair. Can he let him go? It's still up in the air. If Powell wanted to push the the envelope a little bit, he could say, look, we have separation for a reason here, Mr. President, because the banking system is the banking system. You don't control the banking system, but the oversight of the banking system has been around since the 20s, since we've had the problems in the banking system. So there's a reason why there's separation, but there's also a reason why there's oversight. It's a lot. There's a lot here going on.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it from the perspective of housing, you saw the numbers from Home Depot this morning. There's a lot that we could talk about that's affected by interest rates. And
Absolutely.
Right now, that's why I'm saying I think from a Wall Street perspective, this could be literally the most watched one. So, I'm concerned.
And I have to point out, I saw our Secretary of Treasury was on CNBC earlier, and what they're putting the pressure now is, man, if you don't cut rates, no one can afford a home. That was literally the line from Scott Bessent today. Was we don't cut rates today, in 2 years, people can't afford homes. Which isn't far from the truth, but I thought it was a different tact. It wasn't based on any numbers except for sympathy.
I have to push back. History's not on Bessent's side on this one, right? People bought homes no matter what the rates were, because they needed them, right? When they were 16, 17% back in the late 70s, early 80s, people bought homes, right? The thing is, it doesn't matter what you pay for the home or the rates. You're always going to win. It's just depending on how long you stay in it, right? And keeping it up. I mean, my parents paid 16% back in the day, still paid it off, right? They paid it off faster. Actually, it was an incentive to pay it off faster, right? But the rates today, I mean, banks are struggling. Banks are really struggling, and they need higher rates in order to stay afloat. But we know that world's changing very fast. Actually, we know that it's changing. So the question mark around it is, do we get back to low inflation, hyper scaling of businesses, especially in the tech sector? That will happen. So the question is now for me is what the speed of that rate cut is, right? And we know we're going to give a 25 basis points. That's marked into the markets like you wouldn't believe. There's go silver and gold dropping pretty fast here. I'm sitting on my hands today. I think. The jump up yesterday in C3 AI, I took that profit. Even I'm nervous, right? I want to hold things, but I can't either, right? Because quite frankly, U.S. Commerce Secretary Lutnick now says he cannot rely on Taiwan to make our chips. They're on CNBC right now, so ouch.
Yeah, well, that's going to hurt TSMC for sure. There's no win on that. This is his legacy speech, right? This is his last Jackson Hole as Fed chair. So does he go out with a bang?
No. I think he's upset because he goes out with no legacy, right? I think he wanted a legacy of making sure that everything was together, that his team was in his board governors were in line. He wanted to make sure that he went out on his terms, and I don't think he's going out on his terms. So no, when you go to Washington, you don't go to Washington because you think it's cool. You go because you're trying to create a legacy. And I mean, I should say on that level, he has no legacy. He'll be a footnote of history if he doesn't do this correctly today. And that's why I'm saying I think it could be the most watched from the Wall Street perspective. He needs a legacy. And his legacy is that he shepherded us through the COVID. He shepherded us through some serious times, right? Janet Yellen, same thing, right? Shepherding us through some really bad 08 and some of his market corrections. But no, not really. I think he's gonna be a footnote of history.
Okay, let's move it over to the pre-market movers this morning. Yeah. Biggest movers on the tape today, Steve. Alto, Home Depot, Tegna, and the crypto miners. Which one matters the most to you this morning?
Well, you just said yourself, Home Depot, because of the whole housing issue. A couple things. The first thing there is lumber prices. Lumber prices have cratered, and that's good for Home Depot, right? They can then have margins back. So for me, lumber prices is the answer. Home Depot did something that I haven't seen other retailers or pretty much nobody do. They reaffirmed their guidance. That is interesting.
Well, we've seen that. I brought that up. You weren't here yesterday. No, actually, in a guide, 28% of the companies reporting this quarter are already raising guidance or at least reassuring on guidance. So that has moved the other way now.
Reassuring on guidance, but they stuck to their guidance, right? They've actually, I think they're going to actually open it up. We're just seeing right now that Robinhood is launching pro and college football prediction markets on.
Oh yeah, Robinhood's going to do everything. They want to be a super app. The Coinbase and Robinhood want to be your one-stop shop for all investing, when it comes to trading. And they're, and keep in mind that the SEC and the CFTC have just cleared the way with a sandbox for these super apps, as they're called, these blockchain super apps, to have some leeway to start to build and show them that they can do it in a way that will not jeopardize, the different aspects of the financial services. So, Steve, you got to start off with Intel here. I mean, yesterday, I guess we're all stakeholders, shareholders in Intel now, huh?
I think this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. If you're going to take a stake in Intel, buy Intel chips. That's how make the company good. Get your, Intel's a U.S. company, great. So you know what? If you're going to buy AI and you're going to buy new computers for Homeland Defense and Department of Defense, buy Intel chips. Buying a stake in a company as putting U.S. Assets into play here is absolutely asinine.
Well, they're not really putting assets. They're taking assets they had given them in the form of a grant and now saying, you got to pay that back with your stock.
Right. Well, you're still taking a position, right? And that's still.
Well, that's what I mean. But they're not using any dollars. They already gave the dollars. So
they gave the dollars already.
So this is like on the back end saying, hey, that loan I gave, that money I gave you for your birthday present, that was really just a loan. And now I want part of your future earnings. I think it's crazy, but the talk today has been, SoftBank looking to put a $2 billion stake into Intel and maybe even buying their foundry business.
Yeah, no, all of that. Yeah, 100%. Nothing I can say about that. SoftBank, Masa-san, good for him. I'm glad to see that it's more U.S. investment, but it's not going to move the needle. Let's just be honest. Intel still has internal issues. They've got to fix the issues. Probably the CEO's got to be replaced. Probably the issue of how they make and what they make as well. I mean, those chipsets are not keeping up with NVIDIA. Those chipsets are not keeping up with AMD and Micron. So we really need to see Intel pushing the envelope here, and I don't see that happening right now.
Okay. Next one I have up is Palo Alto, one of the big gainers, up about 6.54% here this morning. Just had their earnings up, guided to 7 to 7.1 billion on their revenue now, so a little move up there. Not a ton of talk there, just more they had a beat. They raised their guidance, right?
Yeah, they did. I'm looking at the 1 hour chart on Palo Alto. They've got a nice little run here. Could go to about $200. Expect the analysts to up their numbers on them to about 200. That's what I'm kind of looking at myself. So I'm not buying anything right now, but I do like it. I do like what they're doing. Up 6.5%. You're seeing everything getting sold off. So every the rip is getting sold off. So be careful.
Yeah, absolutely. If you got profit, do it. You started to talk a little bit about Home Depot. I think that one we have a little bit more to sort of talk about here today. They've seen their U.S. sales accelerate for the first time basically since 2020, moving to the upside. They did talk, though, some things that I saw from them was the discussion about whether, these projects that they're seeing people build are smaller projects. So it's definitely a step down in the home improvement side there.
Yep. Did I lose you there, Howard?
Oh, I thought I lost you there, Steve. That's what I was trying to figure out.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I think we just lost each other for a second. Look, Home Depot is it's all about interest rates. So if interest rates come down, homes get built, lumber gets sold, hammers get sold, plants get sold. People moving around, they need boxes, they need all kinds of things. Home Depot and Lowe's wins. So that's what I think it's a good play here.
Tegna Sinclair and Nexstar are looking to do a merger here. Has Tegna up? What do you think about this move, Steve? Up 13%.
Sorry, I have a bit of lag today. Yeah, Sinclair versus Nexstar deal. I like it. Sinclair obviously is, oil, and I think when you look at it from the perspective of moving around the world and satellites and how we handle communications, this could be a very, very interesting play here. I would keep my eye on it. So I talked about M&A quite a bit. Yes. Ron Williams is asking about Intel a little bit here, Howard. Is it even legal what's going on with Intel? That's what I was referring to a second ago, right? I don't know the answer to that question. That's going to be for the courts to decide. In my mind, it's gray, massive gray here, and I don't like gray, as everybody knows. I'm a pretty straightforward guy. You're right. I don't think it is, but that's for the court decides, not for BigBeat to decide. And so I don't know.
Absolutely. Let's get a little bit into what's going on around the world here, Steve. Global markets and geopolitics. Europe stocks, actually a nice day. They're flying here today. We are seeing the market move up, and that's as their defense contractors are getting hit really hard here today, as NATO has sort of rethought that spend and where are they going to spend their money.
Yeah, yeah, good question. Last week, I think Europe is up for one reason and one reason only, right? That's because of Ukraine. That maybe the deal's getting done, that maybe they don't have to spend so much on defense, right? Defense stocks diving because, hey, you know what? I don't have to buy those new rockets. I don't have to buy those tanks. So guess what? Yeah, defense will get. So I think people do feel like it's going to happen. As you know, I have been buying European stocks over the last 6 months. I've moved a lot of my U.S. Bigger holdings into Europe. I've diversified a little bit, as well as LATAM and Asia. So yeah, no, I really do like this. So yeah.
And like I said, the FTSE up 0.3% today, the DAX up 0.4%, and the CAC up 1%. Their defense contractors, especially Rheinmetall, down 5%, Leonardo down 9%, and BAE down 4%, as Trump is pushing NATO to buy $100 billion in U.S. weapons. Who do you think that, does that give us some headwinds or tailwinds, to Lockheed and RTX?
We fixed one problem and we've got more. It's like cockroaches. You kill one and 10 more pop up. So you know what? We got to worry about China and Taiwan. Well, China says we're not invited to Taiwan if Trump is president. You've got issues everywhere around the world, right? So is one issue goes away, but you still have Israel and Gaza Strip and Hamas, right? Still problems there. So no, I don't think so. We still got to build bombs. And here's what's really bad. For those of you who don't know, we gave Ukraine a lot of weaponry and we got to replace it. So guess who gets to replace that? We do, right? We've got to pay for new weaponry, right? RTX.
So wouldn't that be tailwinds? I asked you if that would help RTX and Lockheed. Wouldn't that help them?
I just don't know. Does it balance out with not needing to spend more? Does the investments into the United States happen from the United? It could be a balancing act here where it doesn't really add more, just kind of hold steady a little bit.
Steve's seen a lot of talk about, are we overstretched? You've been saying we have for a few weeks here, seeing more people jump into that as the S&P is stretched 43% above its long-term trend, but the breath is starting to roll over.
I mean, I don't, what else can I say? I've been saying it for 4 months now. So it's like, yeah.
60% of stocks are right now above their 50-day simple moving average. Jim Paulson pointed out it's 43% above that 80-year trend line. Cap weighted versus equal weight divergences are continuing to grow. And we're getting into our seasonal chop, right? August through September are weak historically, right?
100%.
Okay. I think that is there. Let's talk a little bit about gold and commodities. Gold is outshining everything right now, and UBS just gave it a 3,700 target.
I think UBS owns a lot of gold.
I
mean, look, to me, I'm not really seeing that. I just don't see it, Howard. It's not what I understand. I mean, I think with all the things that are debating right now, no, I don't think so. I think the gold starts to come back now a little bit. But I would divert. Let's ask Peter what he thinks, right? Let's defer to Peter.
Absolutely, because the thing that he's talked about that is why it's still moving is, and I would say this points also to the problems that we're having around the world. Central banks are continuing to buy at a record pace here in 2025. We saw 2024 was a record year for the amount of central bank buying around the world of gold. It's what moved us up, and now we're seeing that pick back up again.
Yep, 100%.
Is gold finally an institutional core holding, you think, at this point, Steve?
Yes, always.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm still holding silver. Look, even with the silver sell-off and gold sell-off, it's still at 37.90, still at 38. We're still holding up here. People aren't just dumping their silver. This is paper silver and paper gold that's being traded right now.
Steve's got to talk about the speculation in the IPOs, SPACs, meme stocks, crypto IPOs. The froth is back. And I got one for you, Steve. Our boy Chamath said, no crying in the casino. Is this healthy speculation, or do we replay in 2021 here?
What does Chamath do? I mean, I think you have to look at it from the perspective of what he does, right? His job is to pump the markets. His job is to sell. He makes SPACs. That's what he does. He pumps the SPACs. That's what he does.
And he dumps them.
And he dumps them. Yep, that's what he does.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought, I couldn't believe he came out and said that. Basically, no crying. But Steve, with that being said, memes are heating up. Open up significantly again today. Neg, Sound. Memes are back, baby. Memes are back. Rocket Lab. You know, all those names are moving one way or the other here. The newest, have you seen this Kiev Star IPO that's coming out? It's an ETF or SPAC that's going to invest in items that are going to pick up as peace comes.
I mean, this is about
that crazy.
It's about as dumb as it gets, right? And if you're investing in this, you're as dumb as the IPO.
Steve, Gemini, our boy, the Winklevoss brothers, you know, the long forgotten, you know, partners of Mr. Zuckerberg there are finally getting their day in the light, so to speak. Gemini has announced their IPO filing. Crypto meets Wall Street. You like that as a move from them?
They, as I think Chamath just said, there's no crying in the casino, and these guys have been crying for a long time. So yeah, good for them. They're getting their IPO. They deserve it. They've been at this a long time. They've been a big buyer of crypto and Bitcoin since the beginning. I like them. I understand it, but there's no crying in the casino. I do kind of like that. I like what Chamath said. I don't agree with him, but I do like what he said. Yeah, I mean, look, the brothers are unhappy because of Facebook, but I don't, you know, who cares, right?
Hey, no, I listen. I think they're well past those days. I was just joking. I do think that they have always tried to. They've tried to be as close to TradFi when it comes to the world of crypto out there. One of the few companies that was still based in New York that puts up with the New York DFS as their key regulator. And that's, you know, and they've done that at the behest of their own money, so to speak, because they could have been like everybody else and opened up the crypto casino and had thousands of tokens and that, but they chose to take a much more balanced and, you know, thoughtful approach, in my opinion, personally. Tick is down slightly here. Advanced decline of 500. Qs are set to open up down about 17 basis points. SPY is fairly flat. Dow Jones fairly flat here going into the morning. What do you think we're going to see here today, Steve?
Another flat day. Another sideways.
And I'm gonna keep beating the drum on the same dead horse here, but VIX 1497. These are the times where you want to buy that volatility index protection. So get it now. Do not wait would be something that I would say again. Steve, on earnings, we've got Lowe's, Target tomorrow, Walmart Thursday. You know, the first sign from Home Depot, I have to say, showed consumer weakness. You know, you seem to be impressed by their earnings. I looked at it a different way. Is, you know, people aren't spending what they were spending so far. You know, it's great to make guidance, but guidance is only as good as the numbers that actually come in.
That's right. I think you're right. I think and this is what I've said in the last few shows, that the retailer is weak, has been weak for a while, and I think they're spinning again a little bit. They pulled back a little bit over the last few months, and I think they're actually spinning again. I will say,
But I wonder if that's a back to school spend. So in other words, I saw a
probably
lot
right.
of people, I mean, I have a kindergarten that starts tomorrow, and I couldn't believe the amount of things. We're basically supplying their entire school with all their supplies. They don't give kids supplies anymore. So I think that's a big part. And then I know that my wife took very much advantage of tax-free weekends here in Ohio and bought me out of house and home. So, I wonder if that's just a short-term blip return, or is that actually people coming back to the market?
I mean, you had me last week, on the show. I was from the airport and it was empty, right? I mean, that's telling you everything. They're not traveling. They're not
and that's what I was going to say. Restaurants. I'm talking to my friends in DC and around the globe, and restaurants are hurting everywhere. They're being pushed from every side.
It's only going to get worse.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's why I pointed out is that, yeah, I don't trust that consumer buyers are back. I do think that it's still, trouble, there. Steve, I got one for you that I like. I saw today. Best Buy is going to have a third-party marketplace. So you're going to go to your Best Buy app, and they're going to follow Amazon.
I have said this for decades, that Best Buy, the one thing that Best Buy should always have done is create a marketplace, one for Amazon, one for GoPro. They already do it a little bit, but think about it from a bigger perspective. I think they have the warehouses and the places to do that. You take your computer in, there's a place to get it fixed. You take your you want to.
Well, that's what I was going to say. It allows you to do both. In other words, there's a Best Buy, as I say in America, on every corner, so to speak, like banks. Within 5 minutes of where you live, you can get to a Best Buy, so you can touch it, feel it, and then you can go home and buy it online. Right. And that's what people do. So I do think that this is a good one here. I like it for sure.
And it's no different than clothing, right? I mean, people buy their clothing on Amazon or through the apps or whatever store they're like, and then they return it back to the hard store. I think Amazon figured that out a long time ago. Make sure everybody returns it back to UPS stores. UPS made a very smart move when they did that, right? So yeah, I like this move by Best Buy, but I don't think it's going to help their bottom line. Where are we with Bitcoin here this morning? I think we're
115 and change.
115 going back to 116. I mean, it's struggling at this level. I mean,
we're still going down. We're not going up.
I just don't agree with you.
Lower lows, lower highs. Read the charts. We're headed to 113 most likely. We got a liquidity zone between that I have up on my screen between 112 and 114 that we're going to sweep down into inevitably. It's just the way it is set up right now.
But Michael Saylor and the team they're just looking to buy, right? I mean, they're still. Yeah, I don't know. I think we go to 120, 125 in the next 126 the next couple months.
Oh yeah, I'm just talking about this week.
Oh, okay.
Where until we break lower lows and lower highs on our daily chart, we don't have a reversal yet. You can see where we stopped down over here at the 112 level. Our RSI is at 50. We bounced back at 40 the last two times. So we've got, for me, I'm preaching patience. You'll get better setups right now. Same thing with Ethereum. Ethereum's on the teetering also. It breaks below 4250. It's going back down to that 4,000, which was the key resistance we couldn't break since, for the last year. So if you fall back below that, you've broken market structure. It's that simple.
This is interesting on Palo Alto Networks. If you pull up a daily chart, there's a big gap all the way back to 193. Could see some meat on the bones there today, but I don't know.
Yeah, like you said, it's been a sell the news type of situation or sell the rips. I mean, structurally, it just broke back above the 200-day MA. That's very, positive. As you said, it fills the gap up to 193, 194 area. Normally, But here we go. We're now open, and its first move is to the downside, bouncing below the 200-day MA right there. Some profit taking of about 3%. Now only up 6%. So
I'm looking at Palo Alto Networks here this morning. I think I might make a swing here.
they are.
Yeah.
Not a ton of movement so far. They are pretty much just moving sideways here. If they do break that 189, they definitely could pop right to 193, like you said. Rocket Labs and IREN with two early morning pre-market runners that have already sold off completely. Intel now up 7%, so it's continuing to move to the upside here on the open. So people
I am short Palo Alto Networks. Executed. Yeah, we're good. Yeah.
So instead of going long, you're going short, huh?
Yeah, I think that I mean, it could be going a little higher here. Oh, it is going higher, but I think the problem here is that they had a nice little run this morning. Oh, it's just going higher. Ouch.
Yeah, like I said, if it breaks this 189, it could go pretty quickly to that 192 you talked about.
Yeah.
Intel is the one that's moving up here on that news also this morning.
But I don't. Yeah, I'm going to short some more here. I am shorting more here. Yeah. I don't really like this move to the upside. So, yeah, another drop here could be.
We do see tick down about 200. Advanced decline opens up 500, which is might as well be neutral basically. Dow Jones did open up slightly up here, up 16 basis points. Hughes though sliding down 34 basis points. SPY down about 13 basis points here. Gold even on the day. Silver giving back a little bit more. Bitcoin giving back a little bit more. Ethereum holding up at that 4,300. That is a positive sign for Ethereum. Maybe it can get some, maybe it can restart the market here. Man, Steve, WTI now down to 61.92, Brent down to 65. So oil producers definitely under pressure, right?
I've been saying that for a while now. And that tells you what the market, that tells you what people are doing, right? They're not, yeah. I told you that. I've been saying that for a while now. 186. I'm in Palo Alto Networks at 186.83. So I need a little bit of a drop here, but
a couple dollars there now to the downside.
Yeah, we're good though.
See if anybody's buying the early running laggards up. Doesn't really look like it, although actually Premier Inc. was down in the pre-market. This thing jumped up tremendously. Premier Inc. was one of the early morning losers, now up at 25.21, up 3% after being down as low. And the pre-market is 22.62 just a few minutes ago. So
yeah,
nice move really up PINC. Nice move up.
Qs are really getting smacked here.
And yeah, that's because the Mag 7, 6 of the 7 are down. Apple's the only one to the upside so far.
Tick is trying to get flat here.
Slightly positive. Bitcoin getting sold off here too. Same with Ethereum, just broke below 42.98 here. Break below 42.50 and you're headed back towards that 4,000. Although we did get one swoop down at 42 even and held up, but Palantir looks like it wants to move back to the upside here. Excuse me, to the downside. I said that completely wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I
Palantir
think everything is about to go to the downside.
And Palantir, we should have mentioned earlier, a target of Citron, and Andrew left yesterday on CNBC or Bloomberg. Bloomberg came out and said it very, very overpriced. So I'm looking for a fill back down to the 160 zone here, down about 4% today.
And Palo Alto Networks 180. Oof. That drop was nice there, Howard.
There you go.
Give me another drop.
Sell-off coming here.
There it is. Come on, baby. One more drop there. On. No buyers, no buyers, no buyers, no whammies, no whammies. Wait, we're not quite there yet. Let's let it drop a little bit more. I can wait.
Bitcoin broke back below its short-term VWAP. Same thing. ETH headed towards that level. So again, struggling here. Not seeing a lot of strength in the market. We are seeing buyers come into the stock market, though. Advanced decline now up 800. So we've moved about 300 in the right direction there. I will say the VIX took a nice little pop up there on the open to 1510 there. So we are seeing a sell-off across a lot of the stuff. Q still moving to the downside. That should help you, Steve.
Yeah. This market is
moving to the downside. Here you go. We now see all of the Mag 7 down in the red for the day. Gold back at 33.37 here. Nice little pump on gold.
Yeah, Qs are dropping again. Tick up 240 though is interesting, but
well, it seems, yeah, I was going to point out too that most of the sectors of the S&P are actually up. There's only 3 that are down. It's just that they're dragging everything down. Energy sector, technology sector, and communication sectors are negative. All the other sectors, real estate, financial, healthcare, industrials, consumer discretionary, consumer staples, materials, all moving, utilities, all moving to the upside. So it's an interesting one there.
Yeah, Qs are popping now a little bit. Maybe the sellers have stopped here a little bit, but I don't think so. I think
Same thing. We see Bitcoin bouncing back up here. So you see Palo Alto back above 188 here, but holding on by a thread. Advanced decline now up 929. DXY back, regained 98 at least on the DXY here.
That's what I've been saying. That's the number you need to watch in this market is the dollar.
Interesting. Small caps rut is holding up better than both the SPY and the Qs. So people put money into the small value stocks, Steve.
They're being silly, especially with all what's going on right now. I wouldn't be investing in small caps right now.
Here you go, Steve. Come on, Palo Alto.
Yeah, we're just let it do its thing.
Just fighting itself. Dow Jones is now up 20 basis points. Steve, does the Dow break back towards a new high here?
The what?
45,203 is the all-time high on the Dow Jones. We got to that level back here on August 15th. Are we headed back there, or looks like it on the hourly chart like we want to?
Talk to me about some of the bigger names. You know, IBM, UNH. Tell me what they're going to do. Maybe. There we go. There we go. Come on, Palo Alto. Chop. I mean, it's choppy, right? It's struggling because it's at the highs here, and it's really struggling. But one more drop there. Come on, baby.
The fact that it can't break out means it's going to pull back down.
Right.
If they're not breaking out in these first minutes, they tend to be moving the other way.
And that's how it's done. Oh, wait a minute. Oh.
Apple has gone back to the green.
Tick now up 353 here. And Howard, I've taken that money off. There it is. We did it. Palo Alto Network, taking that drop there. Well done there. Look at that drop.
All right.
You called it. I mean, you said, look, if you can't break the highs, we're going to go lower. And let me guess, it's probably going to go lower now. But buy the cover there was one. Oh, wow. Oof. That was a nice move.
I would look for it to fill the gap back to that 184.
Oh, man. Look at that drop now.
Come on, Steve. Use your chart. 184.08. It's going to hit. Ready?
Yeah. I was heavy, so the position was way heavy right there. But like that. We're being asked, can Quasar group the companies? I tend to focus on top company when institutions are in the industry group. By the way, Buffett owns Verizon. Yeah, VeriSign. You speak about, yeah. Oh, look at that drop in Palo Alto Networks now. We can. If there's a specific stock you want to look at, Paul, we're happy to look at that. You know, it's what we do. I've been doing this for
I think he's talking about the ETFs that are played on some of these.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Oh, I like that.
I think he's talking about the ETFs, bullish pan W, negative,
right.
bearish.
I understand. Yep, that makes sense. Yeah. Right now, the ETF world's hot. I don't think it will be in about a year from now. I think it's going to be individual stocks that we play with more than just ETFs. I will tell you that, I have, with my longer term stuff, the mutual funds, I don't mess with those. They're the same thing. And we talked about that earlier today, that I moved a lot of that into Europe. I am thinking about moving sectors into another place here, moving a lot of it into Asia. I've got a huge started making moves into Japan. That's where my thought process here is today. So
here goes the drop on Bitcoin and Ethereum here.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that drop there, but you called it out, so I'm gonna leave it at that. Nice big win this morning.
Mag 7 still. Netflix getting hit the hardest, down about 1.54%. Palo Alto down at 185.
Yeah.
The one that's still gaining is Intel here, up 9.68%, Steve. Still moving to
Yeah,
the upside.
there goes the Qs. The Qs are dropping. Oh, wow. Palo Alto might be dropped, get below the 185.11 there. Oof. If it drops below, oh, look at that. Tick now dropping now.
Q's now down a half percentage point here.
Yeah. It's been a
Dow Jones moving the upside. So technology definitely getting hit. It's all about value brands. So everybody's following Mr. Buffett, it looks like.
Yeah, as they should.
The Buffett effect is in play.
Ooh, look at the Qs just getting spanked. No one's holding anything right now. Palo Alto drops here. Oh, they blow that bottom there. It could go even further down to the downside, and Qs are not helping. Oh, here we go.
No, yeah, no, we're definitely seeing a sell-off.
Yeah,
I don't see any real news going on either.
No, this is just profit taking, I think. But Berkshire Hathaway's up.
Like I said, the value plays are what's up today. Yeah. Abercrombie and Fitch for some reason, AutoZone.
I mean, Abercrombie and Fitch. I mean, you said it this morning, right? Was you talked about it from the going back to school sale? So
people are liking Best Buy right now. Best Buy now up 3.94% on that news, looking to try to get through its 200-day MA for the first time in a while.
Look at
this is a stock that's been pretty beaten up. Had a high in 99.71. Earlier this year, 52-week of 103.
Palo Alto just about to sneak to the downside again.
Brown-Forman has quietly made a nice little comeback after dropping on their last earnings.
I just don't see people drinking alcohol anymore. Alcohol sales are just cratering. I don't see any. I mean,
actually the trend has changed, Steve. The trend from non-alcoholics has moved back the other way. So that was an older dated statement. That works.
I don't think so. I mean, if you go,
I can tell you from restaurants and numbers. Okay. I mean, I can just tell you from the numbers and from the cyclical changes that are happening on menus.
Right. So
it's moved from non-alcoholic to low alcoholic. So they go for drinks that have less alcohol, but still are alcoholic now. So we're seeing a big surge from the non-alcoholics of the last 18 months. That's sort of the dry bars of are closing down very rapidly, and people are moving back into regular restaurants and bars.
Right. So what are they buying? What are they drinking?
They're drinking cocktails, and they're drinking them, but with it's funny. Our generation still look at Berkshire Hathaway, like you said, up 484. Nice move to the upside here today, 1.21. The older generation, like strong drinks, looks for martinis, old fashioned things like that. The younger kids are drinking a more herbaceous drinks, I would call it. It's hard to explain, like basil martinis and these thyme and like all these gourmet type stuff that's more tied to food, and they have less alcohol in them and more mixers, quite honestly.
Okay, so they're drinking less alcohol. I mean, I just don't.
But they're back to drinking alcohol, which they weren't. So again, what's happening is the advent of the dry bar, the dry restaurant, the dry night out is starting to fade off.
Yeah, I never understood that, right? But the actual amounts of alcohol being sold is way down. Is that correct?
Not way down, no, down about 1% year after year. It just keeps on going down at about 1%.
$2023.
In fact, the latest numbers show volume a 1.1% increase on liquor. led by tequila and mezcal up 2.9%. American whiskey declined by 1.8%. Vodka sales remained flat, and ready to drink, which is what I'm talking about, the
Real
already
quick,
made
Palo
lower
Alto
ones
dropping again.
has
184.
surged 16.5%. So where's the growth, Steve? People are drinking those high noons and those seltzers, up 16%.
Wow, look at Palo Alto Networks now, really dropping now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like I said, once these things fail, they tend to move pretty fast in the other direction. Like I said, I'm looking at 184 is where I would have held that sucker to. Then I would have made a decision. But again, I wouldn't have bought nearly the amount you did. So it's easier for me to make those moves. There you go, 188, 184.40.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ones that do fail to break out, they fail pretty badly so far. Bitcoin and Ethereum barely holding on here. We're at key levels there. That 42.74 we just broke. We're breaking right back below VWAP on the short-term chart. Breaking through the key fib level to the downside again. Like I said, I'm looking for a move towards 40.50. Tick is moving back up. Advanced decline is up 1,000 here, Steve, as the Qs continue to move down 55 basis points. It is all value brands today.
It is. Yep.
We now see Liberty Global up 12.53% here today. Intel up 9.57%. Premier up 8.19%. Nexstar Media on those merger talks up 6.16%. So we do see some movers. Best Buy up 4.15% here today. Continue to see healthcare is driving it. Steve Molina up another 3.23% here today.
Yeah. Look at oil here pumping a little bit.
As you mentioned, Dow, one of the components of the Dow, up 2.95. Lowe's up 2.85 on the HD news, I guess. And Home Depot now up 4.71%. So nice move to the upside. So people like that guidance, like you said. Home Depot really moving to the upside here, Steve.
Hearing reports that the National Guard is deployed to 10 more DC metro stations. Hundreds more troops expected as Trump intensifies crime crackdown. I don't understand this one, Howard. Do you?
No, because to my knowledge, there was nothing happening in DC that needed this. In fact, while they still have high crime rates, in comparison to where I live in the middle of Ohio now, they were at multi-year lows.
I don't understand this. Yeah.
That's interesting that they put the National Guard there, because the National Guard, I had seen the map recently this weekend, had only really been assigned to the mall, which we've seen many times in the past. Whenever they're,
Right. Yes.
What I would point out is them being at metro stations, I would hope, well, no, I don't, that's a terrible word to use. Without it being immigration related, which would be terrible, it has always been because of some sort of threat. So
Right.
something some chatter might have come up, but it's different. I think, from what I've seen in videos, they're just trying to round up anybody that doesn't look like they were born in the country and making them prove that they should be here, which is a terrible way to do it. But the National Guard hasn't really been in part of that, so I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I don't really understand that at all.
You know. Home Depot 413.20 here, really trying to move. Tick is staying positive, and advanced decline continuing to move slightly to the upside, staying over 1,000.
Intel now up 10% here on the day. I think this is a really way
Qs
off.
are trying.
I think this
Qs are trying. Well, my only thing with Intel is this some institutions as opposed to retail that now with SoftBank getting in and feeling confident that they can get in. I don't know.
No, I'm going to sell. I'm going to short Intel here. Hope I can do it quickly here.
They did hit on their key resistance at 2630 that I have had mapped out. I don't even know since when.
Yeah.
I've had that line on this chart because I haven't looked at Intel's chart in a while, but that's the area that I pointed out, I guess, is key resistance back here probably in March and February. So it's at its key resistance.
Yes,
I am its head over this level once to about 2753. So you do have a little bit. I mean, your stop loss should be anything above 2753, and you're wrong. Anything below that keeps you in the game for sure. You could look for a pullback towards that top of the linear regression at 2494.
Yeah, I don't. This thing is way out of whack here.
Tick has turned negative here.
Oh.
Qs are trying to bounce off the lows of the morning. They still haven't been able to break through VWAP here on the lower time frame. I think that's always the first step I look for. The SPY has and is actually jumping after passing through VWAP a little bit. Now only down 3 basis points off the lows of 642 this morning, back up above 643. So nice move to the upside by the SPY. Qs have sort of stalled out. Like I said, the Dow Jones made a run all the way up to 45,096. So tried to break that 45,100 zone, unable to do it, pulling back a little bit since then. The rut is slightly positive, up 2 basis points here. Gold holding up nicely at 33.35. Silver has been back under 38 most of the morning here since the cash opened for sure. We'll say Bitcoin has held up that 15, held at that 115. Bounced up from that level, looking a little stronger than Ethereum that's struggling to stay above the 4,300 level personally. Here, we do see WTI even ticking down a little bit lower here, 61.91. Steve, you become a buyer of oil at any point here, or is there just too much going on there?
Too much going on there.
Yeah. That's what I sort of thought. Dixie staying slightly above that 98, but again, below yesterday's close. So, Steve, we're at sort of the top of the hour here. Any words of wisdom for our traders for the rest of the day here today?
Stay nimble. This market's a little wonky. Stay nimble.
And for me, it's be patient. You'll get some better entries, in my opinion, on some crypto prices if you're looking to accumulate for the long term. For the short term, I'd be more scalping into resistance than buying the dips here. So a little bit of change from the last month or so. Everybody, have a great day. We will see you back here tomorrow morning. And nice win, Steve, on that Palo Alto play, my friend.